Well, hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now we are back again with another Alliance War, and this is War 7, I believe. So we are just over halfway through Season 31, and New Nation is taking on the Matrix. Now I'm going to be taking Path 2 in Section 1, as I somehow typically have been doing this season. And then in Section 2, I'll be doing Path 5, which is actually going to be quite scary. There was this big Doctor Doom on Ebb and Flow Intercept, rank 4 Doctor Doom, that was scaring me pretty much the entire war. But here we go. So this is already like the morning of the war. I didn't do my fights in the afternoon. I waited for the next morning, so we could see that already about 100 of the fights were done for each of the teams. And, you know, it was fairly close. So this first bit is going to be most of my fights, and then I'm going to have to unfortunately reboost for the Doctor Doom fight. So I'm going to be boosting fairly heavy. I was still deciding exactly what kind of boost to use, but I pretty much used the biggest ones that I had. And, well, that's about it. Also, what is different this time around, for all of my offensive fights, I will be having Liquid Courage Double Edge active, which I noticed is going to kind of work well with the champions that I'm using, because with Nimrod, obviously he's double immune, Mole Man shrugs them off, and the Thing is going to have protection on vast majority of the time. So if anything, it's actually going to be helping me to heal, and that is actually going to work out quite well for me there also. So this first fight, as always, the strategy with Thing is to completely ignore the hit counter node, let the Furies build up, and then every single time I come in contact with HitMonkey, whether he hits me, whether I take a parry or a hit on a block, I will trigger protection. But that protection also reduces the amount of damage that I'm taking from poison whenever it's active. And therefore, I am free to benefit from willpower heal. And that is just a very good, easy way how to make sure my health stays topped up. And other than that, all of HitMonkey's abilities are nullified, made null and void, if I don't knock him down. That's when the problems with HitMonkey starts, is if you knock him down, then he starts shrugging off debuffs, then he starts evading, all that other stuff. But if I don't knock him down, smooth sailing. Now, next up, we have Immortal Hulk. I have taken this specific fight already in past before. There's nothing much to it. Not the hardest opponent to go up against, especially when using Thing, again, just because you're so safe against anything bad happening. Completely ignore the hit counter node. Obviously, having Liquid Courage Double Edge active also lets me do more damage than I do without them, because let's face it, Thing kind of needs that help. Thing is a very great champion for specific nodes and specific matchups, but unless you're doing the whole, you know, champion cheese, which you cannot do in Alliance War due to assassins, then Thing does not necessarily have the biggest or the best damage output. And a lot of fights take absolutely forever, which I believe actually is, you know, one of the reasons why that Mojo fight is that hard with Thing on that, well, mini boss at the end of Section 1 on the left side. So this time around, having Liquid Courage Double Edge definitely is a nice bonus to my attack prowess. And again, in this situation, it kind of helps me to top up my health. We can see that I'm not really losing any health. If anything, I'm healing. I'm kind of parrying on purpose to make sure I have as much uptime on protection as I can. And you can see that my health is thereabouts topped up. So even though I'm boosted as much as I can be, pretty much, I'm not losing health by running Liquid Courage Double Edge whilst playing Thing, thanks to the protection. And now his immortality activated, expired, and we just need to finish him off. Basically last 5%, so I'm going to get in another parry, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Now, typically somebody places White Magneto pre-fight for this mini boss fight because it does have Masochism active. However, this time around, White Magneto was actually banned, so we had nobody placing those pre-fights here for me, and that means that I will have to deal with Masochism node as well in this fight. But it's not going to be the worst of the things to happen. Also here I'm activating tech boosts because I'm going to be using Nimrod for Domino fight on that Footloose node there in the middle of section 2, well, middle 3 parts. But we're going to get to that in a second. Now first we need to deal with this Magneto. And the rules here are, as they always have been, completely ignore hit counter node, completely ignore pretty much everything else, and let him build the Fury buffs. And on top of all of it, midway through, I think, I'm going to start trying to get those debuffs from slow your roll offensive tactic stacking, because they also kind of help to trigger masochism, therefore open up my parries to a degree. Now, I'm not sure if this was the best strategy for me to go with, so I could have either tried to completely avoid triggering masochism, or I'm just going to be triggering it all the time and trying to get these suppression debuffs on White Magneto as well to kind of make the fight easier for me so I can pretty much parry freely. But either way, we are making progress here. We are beating up that Magneto quite well. He is a high ground defender, but as long as I'm not losing combo, I can remain fairly aggressive because he doesn't have like any extra power gain or anything of the sort. So for most part, I'm getting rid of those high ground charges more or less as soon as they do appear. Plus, since I am having protection up such a large amount of time, you know, even if I do take some hits in a block whilst high ground's active, protection can bypass that damage too. So I'm just taking specials on block as well. That triggers high ground even. Well, sorry, that triggers my protection once again. And I have built up to 38 Fury buffs of things, you know, mini passive Furies. So I am hitting somewhat harder as the longer the fight goes. So that is quite neat and helpful too. And, well, that's pretty much all there is to it. I just need to kind of like try and remain as aggressive as I can at 100% health. Haven't used any potions thus far, and yeah, the Liquid Courage Double Edge definitely worked out for these Section 1 fights with Thing, because that just kind of basically like topped up my health at all times. Now I'm going to be moving on to this Domino. I was slightly worried. I was also given an option to do this fight either with Warlock or Nimrod, but if I was to use Warlock for this fight, which I have done in past, I would have to use Thing for that rank for Dr. Doom, which I did not think would be the best thing ever. So this is the first time I'm doing this Domino fight with Nimrod, which I figured should be quite okay, as long as I can make it like a level 2. And that is pretty much the goal here. I just want to make it to level 2, having 10 of my charges active, so I benefit from both of the protocols, and that's more or less it. So I do, again, obviously have to be careful with the Lucky, with the Evade, with a Footloose. She's going unstoppable and all that other stuff. And if I get cornered, it could get quite tricky. So I'm also trying to make sure I don't get cornered. And it is a bit iffy. I should have probably used Power Stat 1 boost here, and the fight would have been much quicker. But I didn't want to reboost because I already had a perfectly fine indestructible boost active still for this fight. And, you know, I figured it's probably maybe safer. But if I had to do this fight again, I'd pick Power Stat 1. But now we had that level 2. With Nimrod, that level 2 is just beautiful to behold. So we're going to go in again for that level 2. I wasn't worried about her evading all of the hits because I knew that the special is going to be unblockable, and it absolutely nukes down that Domino. Now, against Kitty Pryde here, I'm actually going to make a silly mistake and cause myself to panic for a second, because we're going to see that in a second. You know, it is a great matchup, very easy. Only thing that I really have to do here is nail in an intercept. Now here also keep in mind that my 3-minute boost will have expired. But here is my issue. I punished that heavy attack too late and I got parried. And at this point she already started phasing, which, you know, is not great. But on the bright side, I do have 10 charges. So as soon as I get to a level 2, I will be fine. Now, I am going to go for a level 2 in just a second right here, getting both of the benefits. However, I had not landed my intercept. Even without that, Kitty Pryde's already halfway down. if I had landed an intercept, you know, this fight would have been already over, but I didn't, so that kind of sucks. At the same time, I'm going to make another mistake here where I went for my level 2 in my Titan protocol, which does not do all that much damage. You do want to always activate your level 2 in Blitz protocol, or obviously you want to be at 10 charges and be able to activate your Eradicate protocol, which gives you all of the benefits. But at the same time, Nimrod is just so good against Kitty Pryde that I did not feel overly threatened as after that initial bad start. So I got to level 2 and that just finished off the fight. So it wasn't the greatest fight at all by any means. I did have like a scuffed start and not a perfect middle either. But Nimrod is just an absolute beast. And now next up is actually a fight that kind of scared me this entire time. Because it's rank 4 Dr. Doom, and the thing that I was thinking about is obviously having max Mystic Dispersion, and also the fact that Dr. Doom would have that incredible block penetration. And because it is a mighty charge node, I would have to reparry, which means I would have to take several hits into my block. And I was really genuinely scared about the block damage and how much damage I'd eat up if, you know, how to block like a level 2 or something like that. So, as far as taking on rank 4 6 stars in Alliance War defense, I think Doom is one of the scarier champions to go up against, because we all know how tanky he is, how long can the fights be at times fighting Dr. Doom, and yeah, the fact that Dr. Doom is just, you know, one of those champions that deals the most block damage pretty much due to block penetration, and then the Mystic Dispersion. So I was somewhat worried. I was quite worried. But you can see this fight, I guess I shouldn't have been, because started with Power Start 1, I have Skill Power Boost, so I parry, heavied, reparried, heavied, activated the level 2, and that gives me enough power for another level 2, and that is it. That is the fight over. So that literally took like 20 seconds of fighting time, fight duration 20 seconds. And yeah, that was it. That was a very, very easy fight there. So again, we're going to start with a nice, perfect parry, heavy. Now we're going to re-parry, heavy again. Now I'm going to use Mallman's Unstoppable mechanic to kind of give me a guaranteed intercept to get that Fury and disable the protection. Then level 2, obviously guaranteed crits, hits incredibly hard, gives me enough power for another level 2. And Mallman just decapitated that Dr. Doom with 2 level 2s back to back, and I was so relieved for this fight. And that is it for my contribution to this war. Actually quite happy with all of the fights, well, except the Kitty one. Kitty one was a bit messy. And yeah, we ended up winning against Matrix, the very good alliance, Masters Levels alliance, and wish them the best for the rest of the season. But we had a quite good war in our battle group, but the war definitely was swinging kind of like back and forth, and we got the lead initially, and then we carried on exploring, and then we died a bunch, and then it looked like we could be losing, and then they explored their map, and they also didn't have a great war, and it was just very up and down kind of war. It was one of the first wars in a long time that I kind of had to keep checking every half an hour, every hour, to see what kind of progress has happened, and it's quite exciting. Quite enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed this war video as well, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons, and I will catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the